Welcome to our latest Motorize DE video. Today we're diving into the KTM 690 SMC, arguably the most uncompromising production supermoto you can legally ride on the road. We'll show you what makes this Austrian lightweight so special, where it shines, where it can get on your nerves, and who it really suits. From the first 690 LC4 with 654cc to today's SMCR at 692.7cc, we'll cover the tech, day-to-day practicality, accessories, and the used market, so you can make a clear buying decision by the end. One detail up front: the signature rear-mounted fuel tank, 13.5 liters on current models, isn't just a tank. It's part of the subframe and a key contributor to mass centralization. Brought to you by Motorize.d, your go-to for new and used spare parts, so your 690 SMC doesn't sit around when the hooligan in you takes over. History and evolution. When KTM rolled out the 690 SMC in 2008, Mattighofen brought race tech to everyday riding. A lightweight chromoly frame, an LC4 single with 654C, Cayenne fuel injection, and a 12-liter rear-mounted tank. Unusual for the time was a 3-stage mapping switch under the seat that let you tailor throttle response. In 2012, the 690 SMCR followed with a stronger engine, firmer suspension, and more ground clearance, the more uncompromising take on the concept. After a hiatus, the lineup returned in 2019 thoroughly reworked. 692.7cc, a second balanced shaft to tame vibrations, finer injection, and modern electronics. Since then, the LC4 has met Euro 5 and gained in control and refinement without losing its raw edge. One constant remained: supermoto DNA. Low weight, long suspension travel, and up front a large single disc with a radial mount caliper. Technical highlights. At its heart beats the latest LC4 single with 692.7cc. It delivers 55 kilowatts, 74 horsepower at 8,000 RPM and 73.5 Nm for serious shove, while twin balancer shafts smooth out the thump. The electronics suite includes ride-by-wire, 2 ride modes, traction control, and cornering ABS with a supermoto mode. A PASC slipper clutch and an optional software-activated Quick Shifter Plus back up the crisp 6-speed box. Up front, a radial Brembo 4-piston caliper bites a 302mm disc. At the rear, there's a 240mm setup. WP's Apex suspension brings 48mm fork legs and about 240mm of travel at both ends. Tire sizes are 120 ZR17 front and 160/60 ZR17 rear. Seat height is 890mm, fuel capacity 13.5 liters, and dry weight around 147 kilograms. A practical touch: the standard gear indicator in the compact LCD dash. Clean, pared back to the essentials. Design and ergonomics. The 690 SMC is all about radical slimness. Tight-fitting bodywork, a flat seat, and plenty of room to slide far forward or back. Its 890mm seat height asks for long legs, but pays you back with a commanding view and extra leverage when you flick it from side to side. The tapered 28.6mm aluminum handlebar sits in 4-position offset mounts, letting you fine-tune your reach. A small tweak with a noticeable ergonomic payoff. That narrow waist comes from the plastic rear fuel tank doubling as the subframe, so your knees stay tucked even with 13.5 liters on board. Up front, a 48mm W Apex fork and a fully adjustable rear monoshock do the work, with easy-to-reach clickers. Removable rubber inserts in the foot pegs, a grippy seat cover, and a slim 160-section rear tire all encourage an active riding style. One practical touch: the front brake lever is factory reach adjustable, handy on long descents or during kart track sessions. Handling and everyday usability. On tight, twisty roads, the KTM single-cylinder supermoto feels right at home. Light-footed and precise, with a firm yet compliant suspension. The LC4 translates throttle inputs instantly, and thanks to its balance shafts, runs smoother than its predecessors. With the PASC slipper clutch, you can trail brake hard without unsettling the rear. For daily riding, there's cornering ABS with a supermoto mode and traction control, while the generous steering lock makes tight hairpins and urban bustle easier. The rear-mounted 13.5-liter tank realistically gets you 220 to 250 kilometers per fill, depending on riding style. Comfort is where the compromises lie. The narrow, firm seat and 890mm perch can be demanding, especially on longer stints. A clear plus for commuting: the beautifully modulated radial front brake, which bites cleanly even over rippled tarmac and resists fade until late. Strengths and highlights. Its biggest strength is its uncompromising focus. Minimal weight, maximum control. The finely tuned WP Apex suspension offers around 240 millimeters of travel, plenty in reserve, and can be clearly set up for rider weight and intended use. The LC4 punches out of hairpins with 73.5 newton-meters on tap, runs noticeably smoother since 2019 thanks to a second balancer shaft, and spins eagerly to the red line. On the electronic side, the SMC-R delivers cornering ABS with Supermoto logic, precise traction control, and an optional Quickshifter Plus that can be activated, an unusually complete package in this class. A standout is the radially mounted Brembo 4-piston front caliper, perfectly blending fade resistance with feel. Paired with 17-inch spoked wheels and a narrow rear tire, you get that razor-sharp turn-in Supermoto fans crave on your favorite back road or the kart track. Weak points and common issues. The flip side of its razor-sharp character shows up in everyday use and in the long-term durability of earlier model years. Euro 3 models, 2008 to 2011, often run rough below 3,000 RPM and can stall on the overrun. An updated ECU map and a gentler throttle cam take the edge off. Keep a close eye on the rocker arm rollers in the cylinder head. On some bikes, the needle bearings wear between 20,000 and 30,000 kilometers. Swapping in the revised rollers as a preventive measure protects the valve train. Also common, in-tank fuel pumps and filters that act up in hot weather and with a low fuel level. Changing the filter every 10,000 to 15,000 kilometers helps. The hydraulic clutch slave cylinder tends to leak on certain builds. Upgrading the unit is the long-term fix. Specific tip for 2008 to 2011, the 3-position map switch under the seat may be set wrong and make the engine feel lumpy. Check that before blaming the EFI. Accessories and customization. Few bikes beg to be personalized like this one. Straight from the factory, there's a deep catalog of power parts. The ergo seat in lower high to suit the 890mm perch, PHDS bar mounts to tame vibration, and handguards for urban duty. A titanium Akrapovic slip-on drops weight and wakes up the rev-happy character, especially paired with a matching engine tune. On many SMC-R models, Quickshifter Plus can be unlocked via software, the perfect partner for the crisp 6-speed. Up front, a radial master cylinder adds real bite and further refines the already excellent Brembo feel. On the chassis side, the WP Apex 48 rewards careful dialing in. If you're serious, step up to Pro Components cartridges. For looks, factory graphics, a short tail tidy, and CNC pegs are crowd favorites. One concrete tip, run 120/70 and 1660 rubber on 17s, then tailor handling with different tread patterns and carcass constructions to suit either city streets or track days. Market value and buying criteria. On the used market, the first-gen 690 SMC 2008 to 2011 is still in demand, typically €4,500 to €6,500. The 2019 on SMC-R sits noticeably higher depending on condition and mileage. What really matters is documented maintenance, oil and filter changes and valve clearance checks roughly every 10,000 kilometers, fresh filters, and a properly kept service book. Checklist. Look for leaks at the WP fork and shock, play in the steering head bearings, worn chain sliders on the swing arm, and wheel bearings that spin smoothly. After a longer ride, listen to the fuel pump. Front brake pulsing can point to a warped rotor. On 2008 to 2011 bikes, make sure the map selector under the seat is set correctly. Wrong settings can mask issues. At the rear, check for cracks around the plastic tank mounts, especially if there are signs of a fall. A concrete value booster, a healthy radially mounted 4-piston front caliper with plenty of pad life left. Verdict and buying advice. The KTM 690 SMC is Supermoto distilled, light, direct, relentlessly fun, and not for half measures. If you crave maximum agility, treat corners like a playground, and don't shy away from maintenance, this is your happy place. The current SMC-R sweetens the deal with electronics like cornering ABS, traction control, and an optional Quickshifter Plus, all of which noticeably improve everyday usability. The early 2008 to 2011 models are more hardcore, lighter, and cheaper, but skip the electronic aids and demand a vigilant right hand. Our recommendation: experienced riders who want performance with a more refined feel should go for an SMC-R from 2019 onward. Track fans on a budget will be happy with a well-kept 2008 to 2011. Just keep an eye on the rocker arm rollers, fuel filter, and clutch slave cylinder. If you're expecting touring bike comfort, range, and a suite of rider aids, look elsewhere. Everyone else gets arguably the most honest corner carver in its class.